To match your seams when they're folded open, the easiest way is to lay your pieces about right where you think they're going to be, fold it back so you can see that you're lined up right on the seam line, and roll it back very carefully. Put a little some glue there, but don't go into the 1/4 inch seam area. And then lay it down, press it with your finger, and then bring the iron over and let it dry. Now on the corner, where we've got the folded corner, first thing we want to do is fold this back this way. And then fold it back, making sure you're lined up where the seam comes right exactly where your point goes. Line up your 1/4 inch, make sure you're lined up on your 1/4 inch. Roll it back, make sure your seam's going to come right where you want it to go, and then pull it back. Put a little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here, lay it down, and sew it. Then you go back and let it dry enough. A little bit more glue. Now let it dry to count to 20. That's how that should do it. Now I'm going to go back over here and adjust this just so it's laying exactly where it needs to be. Put just a little drop of glue here. So to do this corner, I'll get a much flatter seam if I press this open. Less bulk in there. And then I'm going to line up my corner, so my corner is exactly where I want it to be. And I'm going to fold this back and make sure that my point, which is right there, where the tip of my tweezers, is going to fall right on the seam line. I've got a good 1/4 inch there. My seam line is perfectly matched where I want it to be. And then I'm going to put a little bit of glue here, a little bit of glue here, and press it. Be sure to hold it long enough for it to dry. All right, now I'm ready to sew it. All right, these are the pieces we want to line up. We've got a corner here. It's got this point here. And this, you got all these points coming here and all these points coming here. So we're going to flip this over. At this point, what you want to do is kind of just come along and line up your seam here and your seam here, and just kind of slide it up so everything's just about where you need it to be. What I like to do is, normally I like to glue my corners first, but because of the method I'm having to do this, it's sometimes better to just pin the corners just to make sure they're all lined up right. And kind of stretch this to get it where it needs to be. See how it's off a little bit, so we're going to have some fuzzing in there. All right, so at this point, what I want to do is all right, so lay this where it needs to be at the top. And we're going to fold this back and make sure that our seam is aligned. And then I'm going to fold this back with my tip of my things right at the point of where I want this to be. So my seams are aligned, so it lays right on top of it. But now I want to come down and make sure that this point where is the tip of my ruler here is where it needs to be, and it needs to come down just a tiny bit so I can see it go. So I can see with the tip of my ruler that this point's right about where I want it to be. Now at that point, make sure my seam's lined up, and I'm pulling it back. I'm going to put a little drop of glue here, a little drop of glue here, and a little drop of glue over there, and then lay this down and press it with my finger, and then dry it. Make sure I hold it on there long enough to dry it. All right, now this one over here is a lot easier to do because I have this one point here. So basically all I have to do is lock these two seams. And you can just kind of lay it down and feel it with your finger and do it. You can go the old-fashioned way and pin it too. I'm going to do this corner and make sure it's lined up just right. So after sewing and opening it up, the main line you want to match is you've got this design here. So you want this line to be straight through here, which is good. There's really nothing here. This has to clip to the eye of point. You lose a little bit of this point here, but it won't matter much. And this straight line is good. So the visual part of this comes out pretty good. So we're going to leave this one. Like I said, it's almost impossible to get every one of these to come out exactly perfect. So you learn which are the important ones for the visual.